All right. I am so happy to see all of you here. The gals, the beauties that are in this space right now. Men, if you're watching, it just makes my heart happy to see that, we're taking the time to sit with our business for 1 hour and to learn a little bit more so that we can open our wings in a little bit more of a way. So I just want to chat about what it means to energetically move through the business. How many of you have gone into your back office and played around on that homepage with the down, like the chart that's at the bottom where you can toggle the icon over to see the ranks? How many of you guys have played with that? You have, Judy? Yeah. Yeah, I know Katie has. Naomi, we had a whole deep dive on this yesterday. So I know she knows. But yeah, if you haven't, go. I am happy to share my screen right now for you guys to see what I'm talking about. There is also an image that I'm going to see if I can send myself right now on WhatsApp so that I can pull it up on my screen for you guys all to see. So 1 second, because I'm going to see if I can download it. Here it is. Here it is. Okay. Yeah, so thank you for your patience. I just literally thought that I had it saved on my computer, but there it is. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. It's messy. Yeah, I am about to share my screen. It's super messy, but it is what it is. Let's see, why can't I start sharing? I don't even know what's going on. Oh, so weird. Okay. Share screen. Okay, there it is. Now it's available. Okay, I'm going to share one little thing with all of you guys right now. Do you see this chart right here? You all see it? This little chart, if you don't have it, I'm going to drop it into the lineage thread so that you all have it. This chart is the template. When I first came into the business of network marketing, I honestly was kind of like, oh gosh, ranks. It felt like I was in sorority rush again, like trying to, I don't know, get to the next phase. It felt very square and a little bit weird and unappealing. And then when I realized that every single one of these ranks is a different energetic that you will learn to hold in your business, and a different energetic that you have to move through to get to the next level, I realized, okay, this is rites of passage. Each of these ranks is a threshold, and I'm all about that. So when I realized it, it just was interesting to see how one day you wake up in the morning and you feel like a director, and then your points zoom and you become director because you've learned to hold that energy type. So a lot of us talk about getting to director. When you get to director, you start making a little bit more money and consistently, right? Because that means that you have people under you that are moving energy in their business as well. And you're not just prospecting meaning you're not just reaching out to people and bringing more people into your business. You're really, truly supporting your downlines. And this is an aspiration. This is, if you haven't yet hit director, this is really where you want to move to. But to get to director, you have to get to team manager first. So I'm going to explain to you what this chart is saying for you to get there, so it makes sense and it feels easy. Because, I'm going for senior vice president this month. I started by looking at this chart and saying, okay, what do I need for team manager? We all start there. But now I'm looking at senior vice president and I'm, like 90% there. It's pretty wild. And I'll show you what I mean by 90% there. And we'll go into my back office and I'll show you that briefly here. But know this. So in Healy, the compensation plan, or sorry, the ranking system is set up in a beautiful way. You need essentially 2 or more people to hit ranks, yourself being one of those 2 or more. So right here where it says downline volume, right? To hit team manager, you need 2,500 points. The way to think about points is that it's half of the dollar amount. So 2,500 points translates to $5,000, right? 500 points down here translates to $1,000. I'm gonna just mute everybody too. So, okay. So the way that essentially this is working is if you have a Healy that right now the pro is $2,600, you know that that's 1,300 points, right? I like to, in my head, I just say every pro is 1,000 points because I just assume it's like $2,000 for a pro. It's 1,000 points, right? So here in Team Manager, and please in the chat, ask questions if you have any. I just want to make sure that I'm getting to your guys's questions as we're moving along here. But with Team Manager, you want 2,500 points. So essentially, if a pro right now is 1,300 points, that's 2 pros, right? That's 2 pros right there. If you sell 2 pros this month, you'll have hit Team Manager if 2 separate people bought them. If one person comes in and buys 2 pros, you won't have hit this component of the equation here. You need to have 2 enrollment legs. So that means 2 people come in under you and 2 people buy separately. Each of these 2 people need to have acquired 500 points. So after a while, let's say Susie and Jake come in. Susie and Jake, they're called Susie and Jake. Susie and Jake come into your business and they're really excited about doing the business. And they're like, okay, here we go. I'm going to take off. I'm going to start selling some Heelys. And Susie sells 1 Heely and Jake sells 3, right? What they sell and what the people under them begin to sell is their lineages. So that's Susie is 1 enrollment leg and Jake is 1 enrollment leg. And whatever and whomever comes into their organization is that enrollment leg for you. So to hit Team Manager, you just need 2 people to come in to buy a Heely and to say, okay, I'm in, I'm doing this with you. Right? Just 2 people, and you need to have 500 points. So if they buy a pro at 1,300 points, you've hit this requirement right here. And in fact, you've also, if 2 people come in under you and each buy a pro, you've hit the leg volume requirement for them here as well. Within the same month. This is all within the same month. But let's say 2 people buying pros, that would put you at 2,600 points. You would still need to satisfy the requirement of 4,000 for the downline volume. Right? So that means that you would most likely need to sell 2 more. So if you come into this business right from the get-go and you sell 4 devices, it's more than likely that you'll hit Senior Team Manager in that month, because it's more than likely if you sell 4 pros, you've hit this requirement of 4K, and each of those people that bought from you, their points of purchase will count for this right here, right? The 1K. And if they decide to, if they immediately are like, okay, I'm gonna sell somebody a Heely too, and my mom wants to get one. So you help them get their Zoom link or get their link so that they can sell a Heely to their mother. And then they'll have made more than 1K. They'll be in this range over here, right? And it does reset every month. It resets every month. And when I first heard that it resets every month, I was so disappointed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just made all these points and now it goes back down to 0. Believe me when I tell you that this is the most beautiful thing. It's what makes the business sustainable. And like,
I know, I didn't know. It's okay, it's okay. They'll be fine. Don't complain about things that don't matter.
Lorian, can you mute yourself, my dear?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I just can't find you on here to mute you. There we go. Okay. So I want to share that specific image with all of you so that you can have it and just take a look at it. But essentially, yes, what I was saying about the in-breath, out-breath. it is such a beautiful thing to be able to go back down to zero and bring yourself back up the next month. It means that you have, if you're growing a business here, it means that you're working with your team to bring the energetic in it, like back up every single time. I thought it was going to be impossible for me to ever get to president with that. And that's where I'm going. That's where you all are going. If you continuously breathe into this recalibration every month. There's a lot of information that comes at you when you're moving through ranks. Information like, for example, I'm going to show you my back office now. Where here, hold on one second. I'm going to show you my back office so it makes sense to you, but it essentially, the thing that you want to know is that there's information that comes at you. And when this information comes at you, you can either look at it as let it be overwhelming, or you can look at it and say, okay, I am moving energy in my business. If I'm seeing that my second enrollment leg needs energy and needs movement, I need to put love and attention there. Look, for the last couple of months, my outside volume wasn't where it should be. And that's information to me. My outside volume was telling me I need to be putting in like love and attention into all those people that are not in my first and second leg. I've built out my first and second leg very solidly. I need to put attention into my outside volume. And that's information. And so that's where you direct your attention. And when you're doing that, there is no reason why you shouldn't be properly growing in this. So let's see here. I'm going to open up my back office and then take you guys there. I'm a little bit embarrassed to show you guys all my points and stuff because I don't want it to feel like intimidating for anybody, because, you know, I started at 0 too, just know that. I was a little bit hesitant to do it, but I want you guys to understand this. So here we go. It's opening up Healy Back Office. What I talk about when I say your Healy Back Office, I'm talking about this homepage right here. And this homepage is going to be your best friend. I literally am refreshing this homepage probably 3 times a day on my cell phone, on my computer. I'm back there all the time. And I'm back there all the time because this is where you get the information. So if you're just starting, you'll see over here, like as I'm scrolling down, you'll see in this section a whole like fast start area where you're going to get to see how much time you have left in your fast start, where your points are at. We can talk about that another time. What I want to take you guys to is this right here. This chart. It's going to look, if you're just starting, getting going, it's going to say something like team builder here, right? So I can't toggle it back to the lower ranks right now because I'm already at vice president, but I'm going to move it over to senior vice president because it's the next rank that I have to hit. And I'm going to walk through all of these points here, all of this right here, information for you guys to see this. And I'm just going to walk you through what it's telling me so that when you are, you know, starting to generate some points in your business, it's going to mean the same thing for you. So right here, to be doing the business and to be getting commission payouts every 3 months, you need to have rolling device points, right? So that means that either you sell a Healy or somebody under you upgrades or buys a new Healy, but it means a direct sale so that you can keep this active. This is what this means right here. So when it's in green, it means that achieved, you know, like I'm good to go for the next 3 months on this requirement. And then the downline volume. Downline volume is every single point generated in your personal organization. So anybody under you and their sales and or your sales. So to hit senior vice president, I need 200,000 points. Again, the points is half dollar amount. So I know that's $400,000 of Healy sold in 1 month under me. And right now what I'm seeing is that I'm at 115,000. And this in the next 3 days will hopefully get to 200,000. I am confident that it will. I say that, and I'm also like really trying hard to believe it. But you know, this is the game. We're here, we're playing it. Okay. Then on that list, remember on that chart that I just showed you all where it said 2 enrollment legs and it gave you a like for team manager, it's 500 points on the enrollment legs. For senior vice president, each enrollment leg needs to be at 35,000, right? So the strongest qualified leg is leg 1, second strongest qualified leg is leg 2. These are the people in your organization that have the most points coming in. So let's say, again, that example of Susan and Jake. Susan has sold 2 Heelys, that would be 2,600 points. Jake has sold 2 Heelys, that would be 2,600 points, right? So if they each have sold 2,600 points, then you're on your way to senior team manager, right? You've hit senior team manager most likely. So here with senior vice president, my first strongest leg has sold 60,000 points, which is amazing. And my second leg is at 25,000. So I know that I need to go in and support my second strongest leg to sell 10 more Heelys this month. And not only that, to ask her, hey, what does your back office look like? How far are you from hitting executive director? How far are you from hitting your next rank? You know, and supporting her team so that her people are hitting ranks. That's where I'm at, where I'm like, who in your I'm asking my second leg, who in your organization needs my support? Who can I hop on the phone with and move some energy with, right? And so that's the information that I'm getting here. And I can do this with my first leg too, obviously, but the requirement for senior vice president has already been satisfied. So that's one thing that I know. The next thing that I want to know is how I can support her and her team for them to be hitting their own ranks. So I'm constantly asking people, I'm like, hey, send me a screenshot of your back office so that I can take a look to see where I can support you. And then outside volume. Outside volume is any person, yourself included, in your organization that's not in the lineages of your first leg or your second leg, right? And so this is pretty cool because this will definitely also be hit. This requirement will be hit. What happens a lot in Healy is that somebody will have the downline volume, they'll have the strongest leg. Let's say you have somebody that comes into your organization and just sells a bunch of Healy. So you've hit your downline volume requirement. You've hit that person's lineage is growing. So there you've hit this requirement, but you don't have a second stronger leg. And you might not have the outside volume yet. So you need to still continue to go out into the world and prospect. You need to continue to go out into the world and find people that you get to do this with. So I know that I just gave you all of that around like what it takes to know where you're at. You need to know where you're at. And then you get to like soften into it, right? Like if you know the structure, if you know the system, if you know where and how you need to be moving some energy, then you get to breathe into it in a completely different way. Like I used to be an attorney. I used to stay up till like 2 a.m. writing briefs and like I was a very hard worker, and I refuse in this career path to burn out. I think, and I was just talking to a girlfriend yesterday about this, about how we're quantum leaping here, but we're doing it at a turtle's pace because we literally have to go inch our way forward from one rank to the next, to the next, to the next. And then when you turn around, like a year ago, I can turn around. I was like, wow, I just started this a year ago. Look at how far I've come. You know, or it's been 3 months and I'm doing this one thing that I never thought that I would be doing, whatever it is, whether it's Healy or anything else in life. You know, we quantum leap by moving at a turtle's pace. That's really the only way to do it, to have it be sustainable and to have it be something that is really deeply nourishing for us, where we can every single month go back down to zero and breathe into it again. Right. And so I think every single one of you here can go into the back office, play around with that toggle and be like, okay, so for team manager, I need 2 legs at 500 each. That means at least a Healy. 500 points would be $1,000 device, right? So if somebody buys at least a resonance under you, I always just sell pros, but you can sell a resonance too, right? And have satisfied, if you sell 2 resonances, you've hit team manager. And if you sell 4 pros, you've hit senior team manager. and so on and so forth, right? And so it's about knowing this. It's about having on your cell phone. I like to do this on my cell phone. I have an album that I just save all these pictures. You could probably also have your own board, right? And things like that. But I like to have it very simple, just to have an album. And on this album, I have some pictures that I send to prospects, and I have I honestly am sending more things to team members than I am to prospects these days. So I have a lot of things in there that I send to people when they ask me questions. And so have that chart there so you can look at it and kind of understand, but also be familiar with your back office so you can go in and play. And yeah, I mean, like Katie says, quantum leaping with grace and Honu speed. I like that. That's the way that we do it here. And, you'll feel a recalibration happen at each energetic in the business. When you're at team manager or senior team manager, you're really just bringing people into your business. You're drawing people into your business. I'm going to explain a pattern, an energetic pattern that is very familiar that I see all the time to you all. But first things first, I just want to say, when you're team manager, senior team manager, really what you're doing is just being magnetic and drawing people in. It's oftentimes you'll sell more Heelys if you're magnetic in the one thing that lights you up, as opposed to by being Heely forward. What I mean is that if your big thing is poetry, talk about poetry, throw Heely in there every once in a while, be magnetic for what you're magnetic, like for what I'm trying to say is draw people in your way. And then share Heely, right? That's what I found to be what really holds and draws in people that are in your resonance. And that's what you want. You want people that are like you coming into your business, right? And when you draw them in, then you move into executive team manager and director, because they're there to stay with you. They're there and excited to do the business with you. Executive team manager and director are those first ranks where you're now having to help them bring people in. At executive team manager, I'm just going to pull up the picture here. I can show you one more time. Screen share so you see it. At executive team manager, you need 7,000 points, right? And you need 2 enrollment legs. You also need a third. You need to this is the first rank where you will have outside volume. Again, outside volume is anybody that's not your first or second leg selling Heelys under you, or you're self-selling. So if you sold a Heely and then 2 people under you sold a couple of Heelys each, you might still need to sell another one. Let's do the math here. So you would have, if you sold a pro this month at 1,300, you would have satisfied outside volume. And that 1,300 also qualifies for it's under the 7K, right? And then let's say 2 people under you each sold 2 pros. That would be 2,600 points. So 2,600 plus 2,600 is 5,200 plus your 1,300 for that one pro. That puts you at 6,900, right? If I did the math right, that puts you at 6,900 points. That means that you would be 100 points away from executive team manager. And if that were the case and you're direct to me and you tell me that, I will go in and I will buy a coil under you so that you get to that rank. So like we're here to support each other in this. Like if you're that close, if you've sold Heelys to somebody last month and they're interested in doing the business and they each sell 2 Heelys this month, you've hit this requirement right here, because they would have made 2,600 points by selling 2 pros. And if you sold another one to a new prospect, a new person comes into your organization, you would have satisfied this requirement, outside volume. And then, you would only be 100 points away. A coil is $225. It's 110 points around there, right? So that's executive team manager is that first rank where you're really supporting the 2 people that have come in, at least 2 people that have come in through you at some point in time, and their business development. And director is the same thing. For director, if you sell 4 pros and 2 people under you sell 4 pros or 3, you'll have hit director. So don't think about, oh my God, I don't know if that's ever going to happen for me. Like that seems too complicated. Instead, hold the energy of, okay, all I need to do is team manager this month, or all I need to do is senior team manager. Like this is the turtle moving, right? This is the turtle moving. The turtle needs to be able to take her time to get to president. But then you turn around and you're like, whoa, because I took my time, because I recalibrated at every stage here in the game, I have made it further than I ever thought possible in the beginning. So I just wanted to lay that seed out here for you guys. And yes, that is how it worked for me. I started this not thinking that I was going to do the business at all. Like I got a Healy for myself. I was like, I am just going to maybe dabble with it. And then I couldn't contain my excitement about it. So, and of course I had Sarah Bliss being like, well, make some shares, like share on your stories. And that was a huge edge because I was a little bit embarrassed of the MLM piece. And then as soon as I moved that energy about the MLM in my system and through my system, that's when it actually kind of took off because I was able to share it. I was able to share the golden nuggets that were coming through about it, about how Healy is a different type of network marketing business, about how the compensation plan is pure gold, about how it's generationally leveraged, which means that we're working in community. We all cry out for the village, and then here it is. And not only is it sustainable, we're growing wealth together. So it's like more than sustainable. We're building empires, It's like I saw absolutely everything that mattered that I had been preaching in my previous work, and then saw how Healy satisfied all of those little requirements and not only satisfied them, but was like, this is a new paradigm forward. I really saw that and felt that. And when you feel that way, when you have that confidence to share, that's when I started going on social media and sharing a little bit more. And Annie will joke around because she says, like, I never really talked about Healy. I just wear it and I'm like high vibe, like she's kind of right. Like I very rarely was like, Healy promo, get the discount now. I didn't really like that because I didn't want the Healy to then the next month say same promo. And so I was very careful with like how I shared about it. Essentially for me, it was like I just always was selling a pro, and if you get the deal, you get the deal kind of thing. But it was baby steps, inkling forward. And I remember one month, and I've shared about this before, there were like 40 people on our Healy calls that were coming because we were small then. It was a year ago. It isn't what we are now. Every month we grow a lot, a lot. And so that's another example of the turtle pace, right? How we grow so much in 1 month. Wow. Like hundreds of people come into our organization every month. And so last year in March, when we were just starting, or I think it was in May, I had just gotten back from Austin. I went to do an event in Austin, and I did a big thing. I didn't have money. I said, I'm going to go. I remember buying a plane ticket and being like, oh my gosh, I don't have the money to go on this trip, but I'm doing it because I feel at my fingertips how saying yes to this opportunity of doing an in-person event with my team in Austin is going to be, I had one person in Austin. I didn't have a team. I had one person, and how doing an event in Austin is going to like catapult me. And so we went, Katie and I actually went to Austin, and we had this beautiful event. I was so nervous, you guys. This is what I was going to speak to about energetic thresholds. I was so nervous that nobody was going to come, that very few people did come. Because if you go in and you assume that you're not going to be able to hold space for hundreds of people, you won't be holding space for hundreds of people. You'll be holding space for the 10 people that you energetically can hold, right? And once you hold space for 10 people, you can hold space for 20. And when you hold space for 20, you can hold space for 300. Like I wouldn't have a problem tomorrow speaking in front of 1,000 people. I wouldn't. But a year ago when I was first starting, and to go and hold an event with all these influencers in Austin, like that was above my energetic threshold. It was really above I couldn't do it. And even if I wanted to, and I remember being like, I'm just not cut out for this because I can't hold that space. You need to start small. You need to start at the turtle pace, right? You need to start where you can do it. You need to have an event for 5 people, have a potluck and like invite a few people, practice talking about Healy. Then the next thing you do can be a little bit bigger. and a little bit bigger every time. And it doesn't even need to be a little bit bigger. It can be really powerful in a small, nurturing, intimate space. It's just about your confidence and your ability to hold the space. And so I went to Austin, I held this event, and it was a huge up level. It was a huge up level. I was there with Sarah Blackon, with Taryn and Katie, and we held this beautiful goddess frequency event. And I think there were like 10 people there. And I thought there were going to be like 50, and there was 10 people there, but still I moved so much energetically in me that was the first month. On this call, I announced at the end of the month, I said, okay, I think I feel I didn't say, I said, I'm going to be director this month, because I could feel it. I could feel the recalibration that had happened in my system, where I did the thing to support a downline, and that downline grew. Her business grew that month. Right. And so I was now holding not just the energy of me prospecting people, but me supporting a team. That's the energy of director. And then now I'm going for senior vice president, and I'm not just supporting my downlines, I'm supporting my downlines. There's like 5 generations deep in there that I'm on calls with. Right. And also helping my outside volume grow. And there's so much more happening. Sometimes people are like, how do you not get overwhelmed? I'm like, oh, I was more overwhelmed when I first started with Healy and like dabbling in all the WhatsApp and Telegram threads than I am now. Like when you first start and somebody sends you like all the Telegram information, you're like, oh my gosh, there's too much here. This is a lot. It's like, you have to pull back. You have to reset your nervous system. You have to be like, all right, I'm going to dabble in slowly at a turtle's pace where it feels good, and move energy, not the way that I'm like, this whole thing over here exists, the way that feels good for you. And then you get to a place where you can do a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And now, honestly, sometimes I look in my, if I'm like, I'm on my bleed right now, I'm on day 2 of my bleed. And when I go into my WhatsApp and I have like 10 messages here, 25 over here, 4 here, 1 here, it's like, I just like take a deep breath and I make a list of my priorities and I tackle. And so I have practiced holding that energy, right? I have practiced it to be able to get to this place. I have walked through every single one of the thresholds that get you there. And that's what's so beautiful about this. Okay. I just talked a lot, and I hope that, makes sense, some sense. And now I want to open it up for questions. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be on this. I just wanted to really paint the picture of the energetics for you, so that you see how there is always an energetic moving, and about how each rank, especially leading up to director, holds a different frequency for you, and about how, drawing people into you is also an energetic. Oh, I remember real quickly. I just want to share this one little thing for you, because I see this all the time. When somebody comes into your business and you're excited because they're interested in the business, give them some time to breathe into really loving the device, right? I like to give people like that encouragement to become allied with their Healy, and to consecrate it, to like planting the seed for them that knowing their Healy and how it works and how it can support them is the most powerful way for them to speak about it in a confident manner. So I noticed like a lot of people come in through me. A lot of people have come in because they like the Healy and also want to do the business. There are people that will come in exclusively to do the business, and there are people that don't want to do the business that then decide that they do because they love their Healy, right? So there's a window there. There's like a 3-week window where people are getting to know their device. And if you're really eager to be selling Heelys and you really want to get them in on the business calls and everything, it can be like a slightly discouraging. So I like to say to people that every single person that buys a Healy in this business that really gets to know it, their Healy, and love it, has a bond with and a relationship with their Healy that then sets the template for why we continue to grow so powerfully. We are women, men and women, sovereign people that speak authentically, that share our truths. So for us to really be sharing our truths, we need to love our Healy, right? And so that matters. That period in time matters. That calibration for somebody matters. And so just kind of know that, and know that just like the energetics of the end of the month, you know, I used to say this at the very beginning when I was just starting. I would prospect more people at the end of the month than at the beginning of the month, not to sell them a Healy, but to have somebody set up for next month. So it's the same thing as like because the energy of Healy is high right now, because everybody's buzzing around how the sale's about to end, and like there's a high energetic around Healy. I would go in and I just plant my seeds at that end of the month period in time, and maybe somebody will buy it right then and there, and you're good. But if not, you have an open conversation for the first few weeks of the next month. So these are all energetics that matter, right? These are all energetics that matter, and you'll get better at like seeing the patterns as you grow in this business. Like now I can see these patterns. I see them all the time. And I really see how people come into the business and they need like 2-3 weeks to like get to know their Healy, you know, and you just got to give it to them, but be there with support, like hop on calls, walk them through how to do it. Bond with people. Like if this person said that they're interested in doing the business and they're really just wanting to get to know their Healy, be on the phone with that person, you know, build a beautiful relationship with that person at least once a week. So there's that. Okay. Let's see. Payuli, I see your hand up.
Hey, Fer, thank you very much. It's really helpful to have these calls. Something that I'm noticing is, yeah, that part around social media intimidation for me. Do really great one-on-one or in groups with like live human interaction, and then coming to the space on social media. So I really appreciate that piece of like sharing what you're passionate about rather than sharing about the healing. I think that's where I feel I'll start shifting some of my lead form. I'm a projector as well, so I don't know where that fits in. And then I have like some super sweet like friends that are like have expressed interest. And I'm like, oh, because I know it's hard to translate how juicy it is in the space sometimes.
Yeah.
And to kind of allow them to get through their own personal kind of blocks, whether it's, you know, the MLM, which is a few of the blocks that I'm noticing with some of the people that I'm talking about. And just when is that place that you like just allow it to be, you know, yet still stay in, you know, in that space with them and allow them, because I believe that Healy in some sense chooses us. Like one of my really dear brothers that came on, I had to invite him 3 times. So the first time he didn't even listen to me. And the second time he was a little bit more interested. And then when I invited him the third time, I think it was 6 months later, he came in and he got his Healy, and it's just shifted his life in such a huge way that I didn't know a person could have that much shift with Healy actually in a very short amount of time. And so I want to continue to nurture that with him, and then how to translate to somebody the potency of what Healy is as a community without them experiencing it. What would you say kind of would be like,
Yeah.
what would be that bridging point there?
Is this kind of, are you talking about people that have come in that have bought a Healy, but that are like, you want to share the community aspect and the mentorship aspect, or is this like on new people?
Yeah, it's new people. So I have a tendency to, because it's where my authentic voice is in what I find the most beautiful thing about this business structure. You know, because I can do meditation, and Healy just supports these other levels of my life. So I'm leading more, and what feels authentic to me is the connection to build a business in a group of people, because I've been a solo entrepreneur for so many years that I understand the deep struggle as an entrepreneur in the solo alone. So coming into a community business is such a beautiful, refreshing thing. And so I lead with that a lot, especially in my community, that are a lot of solo entrepreneurs, and yet how to translate what we have here in like this community business compared with other businesses has been a little bit challenging for me. And I think maybe it's just like that initial block for them to be, be like, oh, I've heard about it. And yeah, it's another networking business. And I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm sure that there's other voices here that could answer this question. I tend to really, this is another energetic that I see happen all the time. And so I share this with people, is that Healy is a stage. It's a stage for you to stand on and say, hey, I'm an expert over here in this. And you immediately have an audience that is already attuned to what you might have to offer. So especially if you were drawn into this community, there is a kinship, there is a resonance with this group of people. And so to come into Healy and to have a previous business, let's say, like I was talking to a woman who is a midwife and she wants to start offering postpartum work for mothers, and it's the most beautiful thing, because I'm like, oh, you realize how many women would gobble up what you have to offer right now? How many women would be so interested in hearing, not just buying your master class or whatever, but in hearing what you have to share and the wisdom that you've acquired over the years. So I like to share with people, like, if I like to ask them, what is it that, if you could be doing anything right now, what would you be sharing with the world? And oftentimes when they tell you that, you can be like, well, that our community would love what you have to offer, and you would have a stage to be able to teach that and to grow your expertise in it. And it's just, we are, because like you're saying, like you can feel the potency of our community, so it's hard to like put it into words for somebody. But if you can find the one thing that they are really seeking in your conversation with them, if it's to be seen for their gifts, if it's to share so-and-so like information with people, if it's to have more business flowing through, if whatever it might be, if you can figure that one out, and then you get to say, well, this aspect of our community would be amazing for you in that way. I think,
I really like that.
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, because then it's more centered around them too, like when I'm having
Yeah.
conversations with prospects, I say this all the time, I really like it to be like 70% about them and 30% about Healy, like where you're really, really getting to know somebody and like knowing how you can be of service to them, and like knowing how what you have to offer will really be like actually help them, and then
Mhm.
it's your job as their mentor business coach in this to like see that through with them, to really
Yeah.
help them see that through. So like if he's coming in and he's interested in, men's coaching, then you get to like be like, all right, we're going to start building you a men's group, like we're going to create a men's community for you. And like you get to support him in that way. Right.
Cool. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I hadn't really seen it from that perspective yet, even though I see it happening in the community. Yeah, I really appreciate that vehicle that you've offered there as a utilization. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. That was helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Kat, I see your hand up. Hi, babe.
Hi,
Oh, there you
Brenda. Hello, everyone.
are. Hi.
Thank you for reminding us today to pop on here, because that was very helpful. There's a couple of things that I have, because I know that I forgot her name already. Judy. Yeah, projector is, I'm noticing that a lot of the successful people here are like manifesting generators. And projector is like, I'm finding that like when I was first successful in this business, I just created containers for people to come into. And that really helps for projectors. Since not doing that, I've had like no success with this business.
Mhm.
So like create like with your offerings, just like adding Healy into your offerings, I find, and I'm going to try again to see if it's the same thing, but I've been doing a lot of human design stuff, and that's one thing that could be helpful. The other thing that I wanted to ask you, Fernanda, because I really value your wisdom and everything that you embody. But one of the things about the business that's really sticky to me that I still haven't really been able to wrap my mind around is like when people are about to hit ranks and like placing people. I didn't really fully understand like what that meant and the impacts that it had on the business. But since learning the business more and realizing like placing people, if the person above them isn't doing the business, then they don't get any dual volume like on the one side. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm really like, I've stopped worrying about hitting ranks and more worrying about spreading myself and waiting, hoping that the people below me will activate, because I don't have many team members that like really want to do anything. And so yeah, that was really sticky for me, because when I figured that out, it felt like people join me and I'm like building this team, and then the people under me are getting all the dual volume. But if I start placing people under people that might have thought they were active and then aren't active, and there's no dual volume coming in, how does that feel in your body? I'm so curious.
Yeah, well, okay. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna close the window because there's a leaf blower. 1 second. Okay. So first, I'm just kind of interested because in you saying about placing people, because I have never placed, I've never given a downline somebody else unless they already have hit at least director.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, because you did say like I'll put someone underneath you. So that's really good, because then they're really active and they're like
active.
moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just to like paint the picture for everybody, what Kat's kind of talking about is that once you have people under you, right, to hit certain ranks, you need to have those you need to have 2 strong legs at least, right? And those strong legs need to be generating a certain number of points. So let's say you have somebody that just bought a Healy, and you could hit executive team manager if that person sells another Healy. So if you have somebody that's interested, you might just give them your friends, the new person's link, and then have them buy it through them, right? So that way you're growing your volume. I hope I'm making sense. And so I refrain from doing that. I always have. This is again the turtle's pace. Like, it's smart to let your business grow itself, meaning that when there's energy in one person, let that energy go to that person, right? Like if the person's a director and they're 1 point away from hitting senior director, and I've been talking to somebody about Healy, and I feel like they could be friends and there's an energetic between them. And this like Annie, for example, I gave Annie somebody one time, and I'm like, Annie, this woman is into like magic and she loves all these things, and she's about to buy a Healy from me, but I could to ask her, I'm going to ask this person if she'd like to join your team. If she says yes, then you have this new person that you can nurture and work with. So in that sense, I say yes. Otherwise, like if you're really trying to help somebody that's just getting started and they haven't ever really sold that many Heelys, and you want to start placing people under them because you want to grow your to rank, there's something that happens when you like help the egg crack before it hatches on its own. You know, you don't have a strong chick. You don't. You want the chick to come out and be like, I'm good, I'm strong. And then I'll take anybody if you have somebody, you know, and then like then you bring them over, you know? So like, for example, Judy's on this call. I love Judy to pieces. Judy reached out to me for last year about doing a cacao ceremony for an offering that we were putting out into the world. And she messaged me, and I knew every single person that's in this offering has a Healy. So Judy has a Healy. It's in some moment in time. Like I knew it energetically, and I could have mentioned it to her. I could have onboarded her. I could have recruited her. I could have done all these things. But I said, Annie, hey, you are going to love this woman. She's phenomenal. Go prospect her. And Annie was like, done, you know, like Annie's like, Judy, she's on my team, done. You know, so like, I basically like handed Judy over. I said, here, Annie, go do this. And Annie I didn't like try to sell the Healy to Judy. I didn't even try. I just knew that it would happen. And that's kind of how I move that energy. I'm not like intentionally doing it the other way, because you're right, Kat, like it sets it, you would be, if that person decides not to do the business, if the downline decides not to do the business and you placed somebody under them, then the person that you've placed might be stuck not generating downline with a right or left branch, and that's actually something that we can talk about a little bit more, like to try to figure out, because there are ways to fix that. Like if somebody's not doing the business and hasn't done it for 3 months and is not generating anything, and then the commission from the person below, like the new person, gets sent up to the person above the one that's not there. But then you're right about the dual, and there are ways to potentially in the future, when somebody hits director, for example, you can move them and things like that, right? There are ways to fix it, like situations like that, if they've already manifested themselves. But yeah, it's a energetic you want to kind of avoid for sure. And you want to really support people, like knowing how energy moves. You want to be able to really create a cohesive, solid team that's moving together, as opposed to just like trying to grow straight to the top, because that doesn't help anybody. It's not sustainable that way. Okay, Maria Alicia, my dear.
Hi, thank
Hi, babe.
you so much. Hey, everyone. I have sort of so I'm like moving as you're talking, because I can feel what you're saying kind of like metabolizing through my body, and kind of, yeah, like wanting to grow that, like that strength and stability. And so one of the things when you talked about, your offerings, like, oh, have the offerings that are organically part of you, and then like the Healy and that will just come through it. And I love like your support or your ideas around, because I feel like I'm in a standstill with that. Like I'm at this place where, I have my poetry, I'm my grief work, I'm a midwife that I can do, like mother baby and womb things. And there's a part of me that feels like nothing, it's all there, like it all has the same level of interest for me. Like nothing is like, I mean, the grief work is a place of incredible passion for me. And so then I do wonder, like, oh, is that a place to have more offerings, to create more platform for, and more conversation around? But I'm just curious I'm curious what you would say about that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I love that, babe. I know that that to me is that means that you have so much to offer and to give to the world. And I would say to just keep putting yourself out there in your interests. You could do, like we could do more poetry lives, or we could, there's just so many it's about making a decision and doing the thing and just doing that over and over and over again. Because it lights up your soul, not because you're trying to sell something, because it lights up your soul. And when you do something from that place of like, it lights up your soul, I've had like ideas come through where someone's like, oh, you need to broaden your niche. And I'm over here like, actually, I could broaden my niche, but I'm going to put it out there like this, because that's what sparks joy for me. and then you draw in 4 or 5 people that are like, oh my gosh, I have the same life story as you, and I just want to be your friend, and like you just expand your circle for the people that you really want to be in connection with. And so we can brainstorm a little bit more too, on some specific things, but I really think, babe, for you, it's just to continue to share on all the things that light you up in the moment as it comes. Like Annie talks a lot about this, and I know, her and I see this as such a powerful, this is energetics. If you're feeling like talking about grief, hop on a live and share about it. If you're feeling about like, if you're really feeling poetry, connect in with me or somebody else and do a little 3-day poetry challenge. Like every day, everybody, that's a great idea, to do a little 3-day challenge, where you can set some parameter rules and have everybody repost those rules, and then just hashtag poetry challenge, and like make it happen. Yeah. It can be as simple as that. It's just having the idea and then taking a deliberate action.
Thank you.
When the moment arises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, babes. Well, I know it's the top of the hour here, and the resonance scan for Bach flower music is good for emotions. Oh yeah. Yeah, very true. I love that. Thank you. And I really loved your feedback too on the projector aspect, Kat. Thank you for that. You know, I just want to point out Jessica Hesser is a projector, and she is she's Sarah's number one leg. She's a wildly thriving business, and she's a projector. And there are a lot of projectors in this that have really done a beautiful job of stepping into leadership here. And us manifesting generators, we like stand on the top of the mountain. We're like, we're loud, and we do that. But this can be a business for everybody, especially because of that, like knowing how to cultivate and create beautiful, safe spaces. So what else? Yeah, if anybody else has any comments or anything, this is where we move lots of this end of the month energy. This is it right here, right now. I love these last few days of the month. I really do. I'm kind of a end of the month junkie now, because we get to see how people move energy so gracefully towards the end. Oh, Renata, hi, I see your question, your hand.
Okay, I raised my hand before, then I lowered down. I was doubting because it's kind of personal, but at the end, everything is personal. For me, I'm just starting. This is my first month with healing. I'm already, as I said in the call with the Spanish speaking team, it's doing amazing things. And the last one, this is because of the energetics that you're talking, that I really get what you're saying, but it's difficult for me to understand how to get out of some energetics to expand. Okay, this is why I'm explaining this. And at the same time, understanding why. My mom yesterday told me, but what is this thing that you bought and that you're doing blah, blah, blah. And I explained her, and she said, oh my God, no, don't do like my dad, that he entered in a business like this. This was like in the 80s, and he lost all his money, his retreat money. And from that point on, my mom and siblings had to pay everything for my grandparents. So this is like a trauma that was in my family, and that I just discovered after coming into the healing world. And also at the same time, every time that you say, I only sell pros, for me is like, because when I see the price of a pro, I think I don't even have a pro yet. Like the one that I could afford was the gold edition. And I have like this belief in my mind that here in Spain, people are not this open for this kind of technology, and that people won't spend, at least for the first time. I mean, maybe they will have to buy first, like me, like the golden edition, and then when they understand and feel how it works, maybe they will want to buy the pro. But I'm like, I wish I could do like you, to say I only sell pros, but I don't know how to.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. And I say I love it because when you voice your resistance, that your internal resistance out loud, it allows you to sit with how to move that, how to clear that energy. And so you mentioned two things right now that are these little blocks that you're having, these little sticky areas. One of them is about how to talk about the MLM piece. And another one is about the actual ability that you in your mind you're holding for people to be able to spend that much money for a device like this. Okay. The first thing, the MLM piece, I had a very similar thing come up. All my aunts and uncles in Mexico were like, oh my God, Fernanda's doing an MLM. Fernanda's doing network marketing now. She used to be an attorney, and now she's like doing this now. Like, this is what she's come down to, is like MLM, it's a pyramid scheme. It's a pyramid scheme. I just kept hearing that. And so this is where I sat down and I realized that essentially Healy is only network marketing in its compensation plan and its actual marketing, right? Everything else makes it just a direct sales business. So people know direct sales, right? Direct sales can be very profitable, but when you have it to where you're growing a lineage through it, through a generationally leveraged compensation plan, you can make triple the amount of money that you would make with any direct sales business. So I would say to people, Healy is a new type of like, yes, network marketing exists and it can be very predatory. And we can talk about that in a second. But there are also new models of network marketing that are being born in this day and age that are very clean energetically, that only take in the compensation structures of network marketing to make them amazingly profitable. And everything else about them is just like direct sales. So I say that to people, they're like, okay, how? And then I would say, your traditional network marketing company has to have people, members enrolled, making monthly purchases to keep the viability of the company. Healy doesn't require that. There's no yearly, they make you sign a thing that says that there's a yearly compensation fee, but because in the future there might be, and if there were like $100 a month or a year or something, I would gladly pay that. But as of right now, there's no yearly compensation fee, or sorry, yearly fee, and there's no monthly fees. So it's not like a traditional MLM in that sense. Because what happens is in a lot of these traditional MLMs, people are not selling product fast enough and they have to be purchasing monthly. So they're putting more money in than they are receiving. And that's where it can be very predatory. Healy doesn't do that. I say you can sign up and enroll to sell Healys without even buying one. You buy it one time and you're actually buying a tangible product. So when people talk about pyramid schemes are selling an intangible product. They're selling the promise of something in the future. They're selling mandalas. You put in $500 and then in 3 months, you'll get $2,500 back if you continue to invite people into the mandala. That's a pyramid scheme because you're not getting anything in the moment. With Healy, you're getting a beautiful frequency tool. That's a wellness tool. It's only going to help you. And it comes with a business that's mentorship, that's coaching, that's community, all of these things. So really the investment is worth it. And it takes it out of the scheme of pyramid and into the scheme of direct sales with a very profitable generationally leveraged compensation plan. Right. And so I share that. And then you get to say something like, you know how long it's taken me to launch my course? And with this, I don't have to do any launching because it's all being done for me. And I just get to show up with my gifts. This is so easy. This is so easy. And it's so relaxing on my nervous system. And you get to say that like, this is a nervous system regulation tool and the business is a nervous system regulation tool because of the way that it's set up. Like, this is all good. And so, if you share it that way, people can get to see how clean it really is. And it and then you can also say something like, I say this sometimes too, depending on who I'm talking to, is like, it's so interesting that MLMs have been equated with like women, right? Like if it were men doing MLMs, it would be like, yeah, of course, another passive income stream, woohoo. But when it's a woman doing it, it seems needy and desperate. So that irks me a lot too. And sometimes we just have a conversation about that as well, and about how we're here to like step up, how this is a community-based business and women are the most community-centric humans on the earth, right? So all of that. And in terms of the price point, everybody that has a cell phone. Like we talk about this all the time. Everybody that has a cell phone, they use it all the time. They use it every day. If you use your Healy every single day, you're making your money back. You're making your money back. Like how much is it costing you to use your cell phone every day? You paid it back by the usage. Same with the Healy. And not only that, but like I would pay $2,600 for a business mentorship. If it was going to take me to where Healy's taken me, I would have paid $10,000. Like if you do this right and you walk each energetic like through that each energetic threshold, like I was mentioning, you'll turn around, you'll be like, shit, like I just was on my e-wallet yesterday with my dad, setting him up on his e-wallet. And I looked to see how much I've made this year. I've made 6 figures in 6 months, y'all. Like, and last year at this time I was on food stamps. If you do this right, this you will be there, you know, like it's just about connecting yourself in with the right people and moving your energy in the right way. And like what you're doing right now, asking these questions, bringing them to somebody like me that's already walked herself through. Like I sat with like, why is this MLM thing so weird? And I swear the second that I like moved that needle around the MLM piece, I stopped having conversations with people about why it's an MLM. Like it just wasn't coming into my field anymore. The people that started coming into my field were people that were like, oh, okay, this sounds interesting. I'm seeing all these beautiful souls aligned with this. Like, explain to me how it's different, you know? And actually, that's when Amber Magnolia Hill and Freya and all these women came into the organization that I never would have thought ever would be doing an MLM. Like, they literally had made podcasts about how they're anti-MLM, right? That's because, and then I'm on the phone telling them like what I just realized about the organization. They're like, wow, that is amazing. It is different. You know, I'm like, yes, spread the word. And we grew so much in that month, you know, so it's possible. And it's a matter of you answering these questions for yourself. So. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, my dears, anybody have any other question or anything like that? Otherwise we can go have beautiful summer day. I'm just happy to see all of your faces. Anybody just wants to say hi also. I appreciate all of you. And here we are. It's the end of the month, moving beautiful energy. I'm hoping all of you get at least one sale this month or a gajillion. And I know tomorrow is Maddie's birthday celebration. Her birthday was on the 23rd, right, babe? And
yeah,
now
but
it's-
tomorrow we're having a frequency event. That was one of the things that I was like, oh, my birthday party, I'm turning it into a reading and a frequency event. So I'm excited. I'm hoping to share a lot of frequency and healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be manning the Healy table.
I'm so excited. I feel so lucky.
So if you're in the Portland area, you come. It's tomorrow. I'll spread the word too, babe. But awesome, my loves. Mwah. Besitos a todas. I'm sending you love. Oh, just real quick, just to let everybody know, if you're Spanish speaking, I know Renata, we've been talking, Maria Alicia, we've all been talking, but we're starting Spanish calls. And I'm really wanting to create something around the nourishment of I'm calling it the mother archetype within, but it's not at all for just women or just for biological mothers at all. It's also for anybody that wants to learn to tend to their inner well, their inner child, their inner energy source, so that like to sit at your own altar essentially. And so I'm brainstorming how to make this happen, but really want to get anybody who's interested, just like message me to see how the energy wants to come out. Maybe it's a 4-week intensive where the requirement is have people buy a Healy so you can come sit by the well kind of thing. We can see that. Sending you all a big hug. Mwah. Ciao.